Teaching the growing child. Cognitive development. This theory focuses on the development of the brain when explaining how and why children process information throughout their life. Two significant contributors are Piaget and Vygotsky. Piaget's theory is centred around development occurring at different stages, each representing a different type of thinking. Each stage is arbitrary. It's not possible to skip ahead a stage. Stages follow a set sequence, and transition between stages are defined by age. Stages are universal across the world. Piaget's emphasis was on learning and the environment, with less focus on the impact of teachers or adults. In primary education, pre-operational and concrete operational are the main important phases. Vygotsky, however, argued that learning occurs via social interaction and language, with a strong emphasis on the role of teachers or others in imparting knowledge to children. The zone of proximal development is a critical feature of Vygotsky's theory. This explains the gap between the present or natural level of learning and the potential learning that could occur under instruction of mentors or teachers. Vygotsky also advocated scaffolding, whereby the adult or teacher gradually adjusts or decreases their level of support as learning increases. Moral development. Piaget was also a key contributor to moral development theory. He argued moral development largely was driven by reasoning rather than emotions. His theory was determined by key stages in development. Stage 1, obedience to authority to the child's parents, and moral decisions are influenced by consequences, and Stage 2, where a shift from decisions based on consequences now consider fairness, respect, cooperation and justice. Kohlberg agreed with Piaget in that moral development occurred via set stages, however expanded Piaget's work. He defined 3 steps in moral development, which are further divided into 2 subsections each. His research was based on presenting a series of moral dilemmas to children and observing their reasoning for their moral decisions. Each stage represents a more complex level of moral development: pre-conventional morality, conventional morality, and post-conventional morality. Cognitive and moral development theories enable teachers to understand and consider how children learn, how they interact, and therefore maximising learning outcomes. Children are at different stages of brain development, and adults and therefore lesson content must account for this. Piaget in particular had a significant influence on education, in that education and learning became focused on age-defined abilities, which is reflected in modern age grade groupings. Moral development allows teachers to understand the way in which students reason and make moral decisions within the classroom environment and also as a whole person. Cognitive and moral development theories can translate to teaching practices via tailoring strategies according to relevant stages, providing an environment allowing students to explore and make new discoveries, scaffolding, classroom behaviour techniques, social interaction and collaborative learning, and definition of value systems and class rules. As a teacher, I'd be drawing on elements of Piaget and Vygotsky's theories to tailor and structure lessons, ensuring that content is relevant to the cognitive stage of the children. I'd create an engaging environment and activities to foster discoveries by students. I'd take the role of a guide, letting the students absorb information and learn from interacting within their environment. I'd ensure that groupings take consideration of different students' abilities within the class. For the mid to upper primary classes, where students are in the concrete operational phase, I'd rely extensively on concrete materials to aid learning. I draw on Vygotsky's theory relying on social interaction, both teacher to student and by utilising a range of different groupings of students. I'd provide support via scaffolding or encourage other students to scaffold learning. I'd lead discussions on the school value system. I'd get students to brainstorm and agree to a set of classroom guidelines or rules. And I'd model and guide moral decision making, particularly in areas such as conflict resolution, social interaction and bullying. This teaching example of cognitive development theory draws on Vygotsky's theory. It applies to Grade 1 and is a literary exercise where students team up and write a recount of a visit to a school library with a particular emphasis on collaborative learning and language. In planning the lesson, the teacher should consider students' previous learning and current capabilities and the potential for learning with the support of their peers. Note, even with teacher or peer support, learning cannot take place if it's outside the ZPD. The teacher can use a brief Think, Pair, Share activity to refresh memories of the student's library visit. In grouping students together, it's drawing on Vygotsky's learning through social and collaborative approaches. By considering each student's abilities, the opportunity for learning from a more knowledgeable other is optimised. The teacher's role is to guide and scaffold where appropriate. Moreover, learning is meaningful as it is student-centred and draws on real-life experiences and utilises language in recognition of a relationship between language and the development of thinking. Piaget's moral autonomous stage starts from age 10, so this exercise is for a grade 6 class. By this age, children realise that moral rules are developed by people and are not arbitrary, that actions are judged by intentions and that in some cases can be broken depending on circumstances. This exercise requires students to work in groups, formulate a moral issue to discuss, and create a presentation on the issue. The students are to work collaboratively, sparking debate across students from a range of backgrounds with different cultural, economic, religious viewpoints on issues. Students present the project to the class for a whole class debate with the teacher guiding and facilitating. This will reinforce differing viewpoints on issues which the students in the moral autonomous phase can begin to appreciate. In this exercise, it is the process by which students reach their moral conclusions that's important. As in the moral autonomous stage, intentions and reasoning are critical in making a moral judgment, and children need to exhibit sympathy, compassion and respect.